When you're in the thing that brings you joy, you should experience this thing called flow, right? Which is, I don't know why I'm saying the things I'm saying. I don't know why it's actually coming out the way it is. I don't know why it's actually so good, but you're just flowing this beautiful energy. And then you find out, like, oh my gosh, like 3 hours went by. That's when you know. That's when you know that's your thing. And you just have to trust the process. Just start anywhere, fail fast, use that feedback, and keep going.
Welcome to the Raising Wild Hearts podcast. I'm so glad you're here listening in as I get to the heart of the matter with the world's leading experts and authors in personal growth, transformation, positive psychology, and more. If you're a change maker, a cycle breaker, a revolutionary envisioning a more beautiful way to live, work, and play, well, me too. I'm your host, Ryan Watkin, and for the past decade, I've been alchemizing challenges to find the calm in the chaos. I believe we can change the world by starting at home in our own minds and hearts. And my hope is that these conversations are a light on your path. Let's go, wild ones. Hello, friend. Welcome back to the show. This is Ryan, and I am thrilled you're here as always. Today, I am sitting down with Genevieve Skory, and we have such an amazing conversation. I cried twice, I think, throughout the episode, and you know that that's always a good sign when I'm crying because I'm feeling all the feels. And it just feels so good to walk away from so many of these conversations just so lit up and so on fire about the show and the messages that people are working on and the good that's out there in the world and the good work that people are doing. And I want this conversation to be a light for you in terms of your career, the work in the world that you're doing, your purpose, should I use that buzzword? Because Genevieve and I talk about all of these things and so much more. As you know, for the past decade, I say it all the time, I've been a stay-at-home parent by design, by choice, by intention, and I'm slowly coming out of that realm with my youngest now turning 3.5. And so I am out there talking and thinking and wanting to know more about leadership and business and finances and career and money. Also, while raising a thriving family, loving the ones that live in my house really well, being present when I am with my kids, and so much more. And so this conversation is a testament to where I'm at now, where I've been, and much of the growth I have faced from the inevitable challenges that I've stumbled along on my path. So let me tell you a little bit about Genevieve, and then we will jump into the interview. Genevieve Skory is a former C-suite executive for a $500 million brand, executive resilience coach, dynamic storyteller, and keynote speaker. Her journey seamlessly blends the innovative hustle of entrepreneurship with the strategic mindset of the C-suite. She's got years of experience navigating mom life, entrepreneurial endeavors, and corporate executive leadership roles, guiding executives through organizational transformations. Genevieve has translated that expertise into a powerful coaching practice focused on empowering entrepreneurs to scale their businesses, lead with clarity, and turn vision into action that feeds their soul. Yes, please, I'll have what she's having. Genevieve is such a testament to living in joy, doing the work that you love, filling your soul up just from the inside out. So my hope is that you walk away from this conversation with one small idea in your mind and heart about how you're going to turn something that's already in your heart into something out there. So something that you can create, something that you can see or feel or hear, or, something that's tangible. uncomfortable from this idea that's just swirling around in your mind and heart, maybe it's been in there for a long time, maybe it's brand new, but here is your permission slip, not like you need one, but if you feel like you need one, here is your permission slip to make something good today. All right, let's dive into my interview with Genevieve Skory.
Please note, the opinions and perspectives of guests on the Raising Wild Hearts podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of Ryan Watkin or anyone associated with the Raising Wild Hearts podcast.
Hi, Genevieve. Welcome to the Raising Wild Hearts podcast.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I am so happy that you're here. I'm really, really excited for what I know is going to be a rich and abundant conversation. I can already feel it. And yes, the place that I really feel called to kick off is that you have said, and I'm quoting you mostly here, I believe in the immense value of having more control over your career, finances, and work. And I believe that's worth learning. And I love how you're saying, like, take control over these things. And I want to frame it with, I chose when my daughter was born, my first daughter, I have 3 kids. She is 10-ish now. And I chose when she was born to stay at home. And my husband and I made this very intentional decision of, okay, you go out and make the money and I'll stay home and be with the babies. And then I had 3 of them. And all throughout that time, so it's been a decade for me now, I have kept my toe in the water of my interests, and I've put on workshops, and I volunteered at the kids' schools, and I've done all these things, which now looking back, I get to go, oh my gosh, I stayed like, I don't know if relevant is the right word, but I stayed relevant, and I actually still like have a resume. Like I don't even have a gap. I'm just like, I've been a freelancer and a volunteer, and look at all this stuff I've done in 10 years while not even working really for anybody mostly. Some years I made $100. Some years I made a few thousand. Some years I made 0. But my point in all of that is that I don't know that I was intentional at the time, but now looking back, I go, oh my God, I'm so glad I stayed relevant. I'm so glad I took control over my resume. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah. You know, it is an interesting thing. So I grew up knowing in my heart that I always wanted to be a mom. Like that was my thing. My friends laughed at me when I was young because they were like, what's your first car going to be? A sedan so you can put in car seats? And I'm like, yeah. So I appreciate the role of a stay-at-home parent. And I say parent because we wanted one of us to stay at home. We elected that to be my husband in our case. But it was really important to us that we were participating in our children's lives. And you have a career. Some people have a career up until that point, and then you stay at home. And honestly, I think it's really about personal alignment. So when I say control of your career, one, I think it's really important to decide ahead of time, what is my career? Is my career being a mom? If your career is being a mom, that's exceptional. If your career is, I want to be a mom who also has something on the side, I think that is incredible as well. If you're a mom that thinks I'm going to raise my kids and then I want to leave my options open, I might want to get back into the workforce, then I think it starts with clarity. So control to me starts with clarity around what your real values are. And by values, I mean like if all things were equal, if you made $1 million a day, what would you want to spend your time doing? To me, that defines your values. And I think women in particular get a little caught up in not spending enough time clarifying their values and then maybe going down the wrong path. And I'm speaking for myself. You know, I love the fact that you stayed relevant. One of the things my husband said to me early in our marriage was, I don't know that you would ever fully be fulfilled staying at home with the kids full time. Now, we ended up homeschooling our kids. And let me tell you right now, that would not have worked out for me.
Right. Done it. That's a lot.
I'm glad he did it. That would not. I would have been like, okay, so what does private school look like, and what do we have to do? I'm glad that we went down that route, but it was 100% his thing and not mine.
Wow.
From your standpoint, I love that you kept engaged. I can see you like technology, probably. You like maybe social media. Those things are passions for you. And so I think that is an incredible thing to do. But I think we have to start with control. To me, is about what's your long game in life and how does your career fit into that?
Ooh, okay. What's your long game in life and how does your career fit into that? So when I think about that for myself, the first thing that comes to mind is I don't know. And
Right?
so I think it's an important, I think it's an opportunity to really reflect. And I love that question that you're posing because it just like lets us think about it. Like, how do we start to go, I don't know, what is my long-term thing and how does my career fit into it? Like today is different than what it's going to be in 2 months, and it's different than it was 2 years ago. And I think for me, I've watched it unfold. Like this podcast is a huge part of my career and my future vision of my career and podcasting in general, right? And so, but like, ooh, that's such a big question. Like, what's my vision for my life? I don't know. I want to be happy. I want to be financially free. I want to have location freedom. I want to spend time with the ones that I love, right? Those things I do know for sure. So how much more do we need to clarify all that?
Yeah. Well, I think what we tend to do is what I've seen is we tend to launch into something without really evaluating some of the things that you mentioned, but I would say digging a little deeper. So for me, for example, one of the things that I really value, so when someone says I value financial freedom and I value location freedom, my question is always like, tell me more about that. Why is that important to you? What feeling does that generate for you? That you're like, for the rest of my life, I want to feel this. What would that be, right? We don't think about it. You're right. We don't. And I think that's what leads to burnout. That's what leads to people feeling like they can't do whatever they're pursuing. I think that's what leads to dissatisfaction in your career. And also even in your family life sometimes. It's like, well, let's take a step and think through it. I've done all the things. I've worked corporate. I've had my own thing. I've worked corporate. I've climbed the ladder, went back, did my own things. And honestly, it wasn't until recently that I did a really deep dive into this conversation. And if somebody asked me, what is it that I really value? I would always say security. So to me, that was like, well, financial stability, right? The ability to do whatever we wanted to do on our time frame and not having to rely on other people for income. And that is an interesting place to be when I also have a personality that enjoys challenges and personal growth, right? So security and personal growth don't go together. It's like actually everything about that is the complete opposite.
Yeah.
But I had this this realization that what I really wanted more of. So when you say things like I want to be there for my kids, and when your kids get older, you're there for them in a different way. You have to make that shift or you're going to miss out. You're just going to miss out. And what I found I was missing out on was this connection. Like what I really craved when I say things like my family is my priority is connection. And if you're not careful, you can be with someone and still miss connecting with them. Because what I was looking for was security. And so I got to be at work and I got to make sure work is going well. And I have to be on this crazy little hamster wheel thing. And you can be an entrepreneur and still be on a hamster wheel, because I was really craving security. When in actuality, it didn't fulfill me to say that what I wanted was security. What I really want is, like, people are cool. Like, and I think in particular right now, I feel like we've just gotten so far away from really enjoying other people. I mean, taking a moment, taking a breath, taking in their energy, their love, their vibe. I mean, that's a very rewarding everyday experience that so many people are missing out on.
Yeah. Big. And while you were talking, I have to say, I called my own bullshit because I loved hearing you call you on yours.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? It's not financial freedom, and it's not location freedom either. It's that I want to feel enjoyment, and
Yes.
I want to feel, you said this word, connection, and I want to feel alive. And I'm realizing lately that the way to feel those things are like these simplest moments, like walking the dog in the noon sun and feeling the sun on my face and like the breeze go through my hair and go like, this is it. Or like sitting down with my kids and reading a book and just like cracking up. Or, laughing with my husband about something silly that I said, just like it's those moments. And so I love how you frame it of like, how do you actually want to feel? Because the stuff we say we want, we actually don't want. That was really helpful.
Yes. And not just that, the stuff we say we want, the things that are going to bring us enjoyment, make us feel fulfilled, very often are very future-based, right? So if I were to ask you, well, if your happiness relies on you having financial freedom, if your enjoyment, satisfaction in life relies on you having location freedom, when are you going to actually experience that? That is a future experience, which robs you every single day of the things that you just mentioned. Yeah. The breeze, the beautiful blue sky, the smile on someone's face, that like, especially little kids, just having them in your lap and being present in the moment as you read that book. Those are all these points of love and beauty and joy that a lot of us delay, because what we tell ourselves is, I'll experience that when X, Y, and Z happens. And you're setting yourself up for failure in some ways when that's your mindset. So that's also the part of the control that I refer to, is like really controlling your career, really controlling the level of happiness and excitement and success that you feel, really being present in the moment, but it's an intentional sort of experience. And not a default, which we're so busy. Like, I don't know, if your oldest is 10, the youngers are, right up there, and you're busy.
Yeah.
Right? So
yes.
Very hard to be, going to the grocery store is hard to be intentional about. It's just kind of like, yeah. I remember when our kids,
praise the Lord for grocery delivery is what I was going to say, but yes, all of it.
Yes. I remember when our kids were young, we would put a bunch of things on the high chair and go, when the last toy has dropped on the floor, we're done eating at the restaurant. Like, this is the timer. That is it. So there's no intentionality a lot of times when you have children of that age. Yeah. But I think, like, as an experienced older mom whose kids are growing up, talking to someone, it's like someone younger, I really feel like, us older aunties have to be there and mentor and say, like, don't wait until you're X to experience the joy of your career, if it's being a mom, if it's being a podcaster, if it's just living like, because I had that thought, and I think right now people feel a little turbulent and they feel a little unsure. Well, but we can and should be happy we have the capacity to be happy in the uncertainty. And that, I think, is the real goal, not delaying all of that, because it's never perfect. Never. Right. It's never perfect.
Hey, it's me, Ryan. So something I do every single day to invest in my growth, besides connecting with the humans on this podcast, obviously, is reading. Reading is where it all started for me. I was 5 when I became obsessed with books, writing them, reading them, collecting them. I love how I can get inspired with new ideas and stories and ways to grow. That's why I ask all my guests what they're reading. And finally, you can check out all the book recommendations from the experts and authors on the show in one place at raisingwildhearts.com/books. There are some life changers in there like You Are the Placebo, and a few hidden gems like Sacred Motherhood and Living, Loving, and Learning. So if you want to get your hands on your next great read, check out the full list by heading to raisingwildhearts.com/books. Okay, back to the show. Yeah, being able to stand in this like messy middle, this gray area, this transition area, which feels like so much of what motherhood is just like one transition to the next. Being able to stand in that with joy and not like wish it away. And, you know, it's funny because having 3, like now I'm able to see him growing so much quicker, although the older 2 grew quick as well. But yes, like, and I remind myself not to wish it away. I remind myself that these are the days. This is game time. Game time isn't when they're teenagers or when they're this or when they're that, though I think much of this is practice for those older years. And I think all of it is the foundation on which I will have a lifelong relationship, I hope, with all 3 of my kids, right? You know, we're setting the stage now.
And that's the enjoyment. So, you know, taking a minute every day to ask the question, how can I experience joy with my children today? How can I experience joy if you're working with my team today? How can I experience joy with my spouse today? How can I experience joy with myself today? Because we tend to, like, we not only don't really always align, but we always put ourselves last. And you have to be able to generate that self-love, that appreciation for who you are and what you're learning in every single moment so that you can continue to grow. And you have the fuel to continue through every transition as you're talking about.
Yeah. So you said that you have gone your own business route. You've climbed the corporate ladder, like you've kind of dabbled in all of it. What did you ultimately decide was the best plan for you?
That's a great question, and one that I would probably use in any interview moving forward, to be honest, to ask a candidate, you know, what are your personal goals? See how aligned people are. I would say for me, the one thing that is super clear to me now, and I do have to practice, reminding myself, it's not about the future. It's about experiencing joy in the moment, is stop. Slow down. Like the scoreboard isn't the money, the title, the square footage in your house, the carat size of your jewelry. You know, it's none of those things. The scoreboard for me is, did I feel love and affection through different points of my day? Did I give love and affection in different points of my day with other people? And when the scoreboard is those other things, you tend to make decisions that you're not necessarily always proud of, because you're like, well, I thought the rule was this, or I thought we were doing this, and I thought winning looked like X, and actually winning looks like Y. But when you're wired like an overachiever, like I am, winning is fun. But if you're winning at the wrong things, then you start to think, wow, life is passing us by. And one of the things I was talking to my bestie about lately was, I'm a little older than you, was, can you believe what we've been alive for? Like you grow up in school and you take your history classes and you're like, wow, it just seems so foreign to have to experience some of the things that you study. But in my adult life, I have experienced such crazy things, like the COVID shutdown. That was crazy. The AI and the generation of AI and how quickly that's all moving, that is crazy. Some of our political stuff and the division in our country is just crazy. I think regardless of what side you're on, I think everybody agrees, like, this is an optimum. And I said to her, what do you think the conversations are going to be like with our grandkids? Or like, Granny, were you alive when, y'all had to stay in your house and all that? Yes, I was. What that's taught me is that there is no certainty, which I was craving. There is no certainty. Life can change on a dime, and it does. And you will not. You'll miss the whole thing. Like, life is fast. You'll miss the whole thing if you aren't careful. So I'm working really hard. So right now my goal is entrepreneurial. It is culture. It is creating a workspace for people that actually enjoy coming to work. But I want to partner with people and organizations that their goal is to truly do something bigger than sell X, or be number one, because the revenue is the number that we're chasing.
Yeah. So I'm hearing you say it doesn't matter what the path is for you. It matters how it aligns with your values. Yes. And your overall vision for your life and how you want to feel every day.
Yeah. Because, and my values also from a Christian standpoint are that God uses me in a myriad of different ways. And so, in my last career, and I was a C-suite executive for a $500 million brand, and people were like, I hope you never leave, and I hope you don't go anywhere. And my answer was always like, I'll be here as long as God feels that this is a good fit for me. And what I had to do was every day look at, well, why am I still here? Who can I serve? What can I do? When people are distracted by so many things or they're focused on the wrong things, how can I infuse that moment of, remember why you're here? That moment of, remember to, I hate to say stop and smell the roses, but it's like, stop and feel the life around you, I think is the new stop and smell the roses.
Yeah, and the life inside of you too. And I heard you say, this is a perfect segue. I heard you say that business is ultimately a spiritual endeavor. And that's what you just hinted to. Like, no matter your position in life, in work, in family, like, it breaks down to how are you serving and how connected are you to yourself, others, and God? Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah. And how are you using your gifts to help other people experience theirs?
Yes. I was going to ask you what a good leader is, and I feel like that you just said it, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And it I think being a good leader is an on again, off again. I think anybody who says I've mastered being a good leader is a liar. Liar! I will just tell you, liar. Because especially in a work environment, you can get so caught up in, like, the finance guy comes in and says the numbers are off, or you're looking at the sales and you're like, this isn't good, or customers are angry, or what have you. And then you turn into your team and maybe not bringing out the best in them or the best in your customers. And a lot of that is fear. To me, that's fear. And that to me is part of a spiritual experience, is learning how to navigate fear and to show up anyway in a better state of mind, a better state of heart, a better spiritual presence than embracing that fear and going down that path. So it's the ultimate test. So I think good leadership is a trend. It's a trend. I think it's a trend measured over time. Are you getting better at X? Are you getting better at acknowledging people? Are you getting better at leaning into people and their gifts and pulling out the things that they really need to see about themselves? Because they too act differently in fear than they do when they feel a sense of security. But yeah, it's a study, it's a practice, and I think it's a trend. And hopefully your trend is up over time.
Yes, love that. What is success to you at this point from where you're standing?
Oh, that's a deep question. Success to me is feeling more joy in more moments of the day. If you had asked me what success was, even just a year ago, I would have said, it's this title, it's this amount of money, pardon me, it's this much money in the bank. It's all of these measurable, forward, future things. And I really have come to the realization that success is measurable, but it's measurable from our own standpoint. How many times today did I experience joy? And if you could actually, and I do actually have a little journal where I log, like today, I felt joy this many times throughout the day. But I think it's a purposeful sort of experience. But the beauty in that is when it is something you can control, you can feel success every day. I felt really drained professionally because a lot of my success was, like I said, it was all future based.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a mentor that used to say something along the lines of success is the amount of hours in the day that you spend feeling good.
Oh, yeah. Same.
Right. And I was like, well, she's not wrong, and I think for many of us, like myself included during different seasons, we can get stuck in a rut. I mean, I remember kind of like, maybe 5 or so years ago, kind of like working with a coach and being like, I just don't know when I'm going to get out of this trench, like feeling just so stuck. And we have seasons like that. And for me, like, it's easy to say looking back, like, oh, that was for my growth and oh, that was for this. But man, when you're in those hard seasons, it is hard to pull yourself up and to like put on a smile and to go, oh, how am I going to feel joy today? Right. But it can be that simple. Like it can be that profound. And so I'm to the point where even when I'm having a bad day or an off moment, I'm happy to report that I'm out of the trench. Hallelujah. But when it's a hard day and things aren't going my way, like I can still find the simple peace, the simple joy, the sunshine, the breeze, the butterfly, the smile, the all of it, all that little stuff that we think is little, but that is actually the big stuff.
Yes. Yeah. And that's all there for us to experience. So yes, but it's a concept that you have to work at.
Yeah,
it really is.
Hi to your dog, by the way. My dog loves hanging out when I'm podcasting. It's all good. He's like always scratching himself down on the ground or barking at the squirrels outside. So the more the merrier.
I'm trying to sit here and think like, how can I yell at my dog without making it rough?
Without like yelling at him.
Cover my mouth, rub my nose, like Archie.
Archie, come on in. Come meet Bodie. He's hanging out here too. That's great. Yeah, my 97-year-old grandma, she's about to be 98 in August. And I can't help in so many of these conversations think of her because she's nearing the end of her life, by all accounts, right? And she has lived this full life of many years. And, it's just when we look back at our life, you said life goes really fast. And I picture then my parents, like in her situation. And then
Yes.
I'm in the grandma, and then I'm that, I'm there too. And this like circle of life, it's just so wild. And when I keep my finger on the pulse of that all the time, I find that I'm able to live more fully. And I find that I'm able to, even make better things happen and create better podcasts and have deeper conversations and show up as me and love my kids even when I perceive them to be annoying or needy or selfish or some of the things that little kids just have going on, right?
Yeah.
And I just think like your approach to career, business, money, I think it's beautiful. I think it's the wave of the future from where I'm standing. And I'm curious from where you're standing, like, what are you thinking is coming up for 2025, like business-wise, career-wise? What are we going to see? What are we going to be seeing?
So it's an interesting time to be alive. I think personally, everybody should have their own thing. I really do. And I think the biggest reason people don't have their own thing is because they misjudge, again, what success looks like or the value that that thing might bring in, thing being a business. Like when you said, sometimes I made a couple $100, sometimes I made $1,000, sometimes I made $0. That's a very healthy way to look at it. What most people tend to do is say, well, unless I'm making $1 million at this, or 6 figures, I'm not successful. And I'm like, well, stop the bus. Seriously, come on. Do you know what you would have to do to create $300 to $500 with a like a job? So even if you're selling something on Etsy, or even if you're podcasting or blogging or whatever, and it's contributing in any way, even emotionally, to your life, that's a huge win. And what I see right now is we've got a couple different things all transpiring at the same time, all converging at the same time. So you mentioned your grandmother. I'm in the generation that's taking care of their parents. So my mother is 86. She's living with us at the moment while she's getting her health in order. And, she's on the verge of dialysis. And, there's a lot that we have to set up for her in her life. And I'm where I am now in my career, and my husband is in his career, where we can have her with us and enjoy that time with her. My mom is as tough as they come. She is like, she's as tough as they come, and she's hilarious because, as you all know, your mother is always the sayer of all the true things. Things like you're a little too uptight, or
thanks, Mom.
I know. Yesterday she rolled her eyes and made a comment because the dog, I'm trying to train our dog to sit and not bark and jump on people when they come into the house.
As you guys heard, it's going really well.
It is going so well. And my mom just kind of rolled her eyes and I go, Mom, and she goes, oh, he's a dog. Come on, And her whole approach to life is lighten up, Lucy. Like lighten up. Like you're even at her, like she's playing her Candy Crush and her Wordle and watching soap operas, enjoying her life, and is this living, breathing example to me every day. Enjoy your coffee, enjoy your avocado toast, enjoy your chai tea, enjoy your Wordle. You know, like she has just surrounded herself with things that bring her joy, and she doesn't really give a rip who else thinks. I've given up trying to like feed her healthy things. I'm like, here's the thing that you want to eat, you know, like, because that's what brings you joy. So I think that there's this convergence of people that are going to be intergenerational. On the same hand that I have my mom with me, I have these young adult children. We're at a place in our life where one of my daughter's dog is 16 years old. And he's just doing old dog things. And honestly, yesterday we thought we were going to say goodbye to him. And we went to the vet together. And as a mom, I'm preparing myself for this moment with your child that you know is going to be heartbreaking. This dog's been a part of our life for 16 years. But there was that connection. I really stopped and thought to myself, but this is life. This is the beauty of living, that there's living and then there's transitioning and then there's helping people in those moments and there's being connected and there's, you know, my mom looked at me at one point yesterday, she said, somebody going with Eden to the doctor's appointment? And I'm like, yep, we got that covered, Mom, you know. But I think more people are going to come to a place where they really want to be present for those moments that matter, because I think the world is making it very clear to us. Things change in a moment, and no job, no work, no money, no house is worth not being there for those meaningful moments.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I love your take that everybody can and even should have their own thing. And for me, I kind of like intuitively just, you know, found my way to that throughout this whole journey of me being mostly home with the kids. And, you know, I love that it produced a top global 5% podcast. That wasn't my intention though. And the reason that it produced a top global 5% podcast is because I was showing up. I was absolutely loving it. It was my favorite hour of the week. I actually showed up and said, like, tell the truth, be who you are, be authentic, you know, and I honed that over a number of years. And so for me, I'm like, okay, you know, there's now direction which I can take this, you know, right? And there's different opportunities coming up now. And I'm just like watching it unfold, and it's really, really fun. So, but how does somebody, let's say it's somebody who's working a job, like working in somebody else's dream. Maybe they like their job. Maybe they love their job. Maybe they hate their job. But what would you say to that person in like the first steps are in creating their own thing?
Yeah. And I would just want to add this too. I think it's so important now to have your own thing, because one, there's never been an easier time to get into something, right? So you can start a podcast, you can be an influencer, you can add value to people's lives. I grew up in a space and time where if I wanted to meet new people, I had to be out everywhere all the time to do that. So I think the conditions are so fertile for people, but I also think that what we're seeing now, and I've always been a big proponent of, take care of you and your family. Don't rely on anybody else. Make sure, because remember my big thing was security. But I think that it's exactly what you did. Pardon me. I think it's, so do you like knitting? Do you like cooking? Do you like organizing? What is it that you really have a passion for? I really believe that one of the reasons you're so successful is because authenticity is attracting success. And so many people have trouble being authentic because of fear. And if you can show up as your most authentic self and truly enjoy what it is you're doing, there's a way that you will get rewarded for adding value to other people's lives for that. So even if somebody had a full-time job, that I'm asking when I say, well, if you really like knitting, you would be surprised how many people have courses, newsletters, membership sites, Facebook groups where they're teaching people how to knit. So fulfilling if that's really what you enjoy doing. Painting, folding clothes. I don't like folding. I don't like laundry, but I'd love to know how to do it more efficiently. Yeah. So there's so many ways for people to, I would say, just start with social media. I think social media is a great place to start. Start where your friends are. Start asking questions. There's so many groups out there. See what's going on for people that are already doing those things, and start low tech. I think that, podcasting might be intimidating for most people. So start with you, your camera, and a Facebook Live, and just get a sense of does this bring me joy? Because when you're in the thing that brings you joy, you should experience this thing called flow, right? Which is, I don't know why I'm saying the things I'm saying. I don't know why it's actually coming out the way it is. I don't know why it's actually so good, but you're just flowing this beautiful energy. And then you find out oh my gosh, 3 hours went by. Yeah. That's when you know. That's when you know that's your thing. And you just have to trust the process. Just start anywhere. Fail fast. Use that feedback and keep going.
Yeah. I'm crying because it's all been true for me. And I went through a process of de-layering myself of these onions of these onion layers of the beliefs that didn't serve me, and then the habits that didn't serve me, and then the feeling states that really didn't serve me. And I've shed so much of that. And what I'm still finding, it will be an evolution for me throughout my life. I'm 42 now, and I know there's more to shed, but what I've found is that it's 1000% true that now I can show up grounded in me, who I am today, and serve and love. And I'm teaching a friend of my daughter's friend's mom how to make sourdough bread later. And she's like, thank you so much. I'm like, why would I not teach you how to do this? And then I'm going to tell her how to start a podcast. Why would I not tell you how to do it? And I know that it feels daunting if you are in one of those challenging spaces, if you are in the job that you don't like, but it's just finding the 1%. Yes. Every day. Yes. The 1%. And I'm a testament to it works, and it can happen. And then opportunities and synchronicities start to happen. And then and I love that you said flow, because I pray for flow, not just for me, but for everybody, every single morning, because I want all of you out there to feel what that feels like, to look at the clock and go, how many minutes have gone by? What's going on? And you're in this state of creativity, in the universe, and it's a game, and it's fun, and it's flowy, and you can have it too.
Yeah, and it's good. When you get done, you're this was great, and there's a part of you that's I don't think that was completely just me. Just FYI, I feel like I was just, and I think that is also the direction of where things are going to go. I think people are, one of the things that I help people with in businesses is teaching them sell. And I say sell in parentheses because nobody really wants to sell because they think it's such a bad experience. But people now want authenticity. People can, consumers are smarter. People are smarter. You can Google anybody at any point in time and see who they are, what they do, and what they offer, and make decisions way ahead of time as to whether they're quote unquote your people, or if you want to even spend time with them. And so authenticity is definitely king, but I think people need to be careful because sometimes authenticity becomes the buzzword, but it's an actual genuine feeling, and it's not manufactured, as long as you show up authentically. And I love what you said. I really do, in terms of finding joy in, let me show you how to make sourdough. It's the connection that will actually happen between the two of you. It is, I think people are going to slow down more, connect more, because I think the world is serving up this old go after the money, paradigm isn't as fulfilling as we had hoped.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And what I'm hearing you say is like the authenticity piece is a chance to actually walk the talk. And so like, it's fun to say these things. It's fun to read the books. And there's also, I've said it on this podcast a handful of times, there's also this integration piece where we wake up and what do we do? And we go pick our kids up from school and how do we be? And we it's the things that we do and the choices that we make day in and day out. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. Don't ask me how I know that. I Googled it. And that's how many seconds we have to choose how we're going to be, how we're going to show up, how we're going to feel, how we want to feel. So yeah, I love your work. I truly believe that the ripple effect is real and that you are just creating so much good out in the world. And so where do we find you? Where do we follow you and learn more about the amazing work that you're doing?
Well, thank you. I consider what I do a privilege. I am easily accessible on all social platforms as Genevieve_Skory. My website is under construction again, so that'll be back up and running in no time. But I think the easiest way, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, I spend a lot of time on Instagram. That's my favorite place to be. And I answer my emails. I'm happy to connect with people because so many people have connected and helped me. And I do think the future is connection and authenticity. I really do, because the only way to truly add value is connecting authentically. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now, as we start to wrap up, I'm going to ask you the 3 questions that I ask everybody at the end of every interview I do.
Yes.
And the first of which is, what's bringing you joy today?
What is today in the moment? Right now, our time together, honestly, is truly bringing me joy. And I do mean this when I say, the minute we got on, I was like, oh my gosh. And I've guessed it a few times, and I enjoy every one of my conversations, but I feel like there's something about your energy and your presence that creates such a safe space for people, just so you know. So in this moment, I can say I'm really and you know how it is. You get in this rut where you're like, I'm doing a podcast, and is my hair right? The dog is barking, and you're so caught up in all of these things that could steal the joy of but wait a minute. You can experience this great hour of connection. So for me, it's connection. It's about finding the connection. And what I have found is the more I focus on it, the more I'm attracting people that bring that into my life. So for me, success right now is about looking for that connection.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And this was great.
Again. I mean, it's just crying twice in an interview. That's a winner. I love it. And it's the best compliment I could ever receive from the bottom of my heart. I'm just receiving that so fully.
Yes.
To be complimented on my energy. It's truly, it's my North Star. It really is, because that's all we've got. I mean, that's honestly the most important thing. Yeah.
And you know the saying, people don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. And I would say A++, and thank you. Honestly, I feel like I really okay, well, thank you though, because I feel like I got the better end of the deal here. I think that's a high praise. I would also say second to, there's no way you're 42. I got to fit that in. I was like,
Thank you.
I literally was like, did she just say 42? I feel like she's lying by like at least 10 years. So
That's great. Thank you.
well done there.
Thank you. My kids are keeping me young, and I'm young at heart, old soul, all of it. It's just, thank you so much for that. Because it's funny to get older and to say I'm 42, and I'm so proud of that because I've got, some gray hairs up here sprouting, and I'm like, I've earned these stripes.
They are earned, and they're sparkles. They're sparkles in your hair.
Yes, that's exactly. My girls call them my fairy hair, and I was like, yes, girl. Yes.
How beautiful is that?
I know. Thank you. All right. And then the next question I have for you is, what, if anything, are you reading right now? What's on your
and I'm trying to hold my audiobook open so I could get the author's last name.
Oh, perfect.
I literally just started a book called The Luck Factor. Ooh. It's called The Luck Factor, The Scientific Study of the Lucky Mind by Richard Wiseman. And yes, and it highlight some of the things that we have been talking about. And I think you're going to, if you next put it on your list.
It's on my list.
Because I think you're going to see that like you have been lucky. And I think people look at other people and think like, oh, you're lucky. And it's like,
yes, and.
Yes, and yes. You can make yourself luckier, so. Yeah, so it's been great so far, but literally just started. My son recommended it, and I was like, this is great. It's great.
Cool. I love that. Yes, that's going on the list, and I'm behind the scenes, like working on a recommended reading list for all of you out there who just want all these amazing books that all the people I interview suggest every week. So I've got dozens of them now at this point.
Great.
If not hundreds. So it's super great. Okay. And the last question I have for you, Genevieve, is who or what has taught you the most?
Yeah, I have to say my husband, 100%. My husband is the exact opposite of me in almost every way. Yeah. And there were so many parts of my life where I thought, boy, I wish we were more similar. Like there were many, many, many points in my life where I was like, I wish we were more similar. And as you get older and wiser, you start to realize there are people in your life to teach you things. And my husband is the visionary in our partnership. Everything that we've done because he's had that forward vision. He's had the ability to think like what our life could look like if it actually worked out. Whereas I was like, well, what if it doesn't work out? He's super patient. He's super kind. He's a deep, lifelong learner and the nicest, most loving human being on the face of the planet. So I learn from him daily. And I look at him when I'm upset or worried about something, and he's my barometer. Like, is this something we should be freaked out about, or what are you thinking? And so, I would have to. I give him props today. Give him props as my guy.
That is so beautiful. We are upwards of 100 episodes here on the Raising Wild Hearts podcast, and I don't think anyone has ever said their spouse, and so that speaks volumes to you and your family and your commitment and your love for each other. And that is so beautiful. And so I am just celebrating in that with you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's not sunshine and roses every day.
Amen.
Just to be clear. But I, in every moment of that, I still I'm like, okay, you're my guy. I appreciate you the most. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for this entire conversation. It's been absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi again, friend. If you're listening to this, you made it to the end of a Raising Wild Hearts episode. Yay! Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you can hear more amazing conversations just like this one. And here's the deal. If you made it this far, go ahead and hop down on your podcast app and rate and review the show. Your words and 5 stars truly mean the world to me. Thank you for your support of the show. Thank you for showing up and listening week after week. I will be dropping new episodes every Monday, so tune in then, and I will talk to you soon.